Hey everybody, it's Heidi. You are watching Heidi Creates, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. People are using an app called Procreate, and basically to use this app you need to have an iPad Pro. If you aren't ready to make that leap for the expense of an iPad Pro, I'm actually going to show you how I use a program that I already have on my computer, and that program is Photoshop Elements. It's a lot less expensive. Yes, it may take a little bit longer to use than a Procreate app would be. It's a great way to start until you really know for sure that the Procreate and the iPad Pro is something that you want to do. From here, let's get started. If at any time while you're watching this video you are learning something and you're enjoying what you're watching, would you do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button there at the bottom? If you'd like to see more videos, make sure that you hit subscribe and the little bell right next to it. That way you'll get notifications every time I get a new video out. What we are going to do is we're going to take a line drawing and we're going to transfer that from paper, and this is on paper, onto the computer. And then we're going to make it into something that we can paint, and we can make it a digital image. To give you an idea of how I made this particular image symmetrical, I did a pencil drawing first. There's lots of pencil scratchings in here. So this is where I did my original drawing. I folded it in half. Then I opened it back up and I began to do my drawing. Pretty much focused my attention on one side, and it was this side over here. And I wanted to get this exact image onto this side. I then took a fine line marker, this is a Sharpie black pen, and I went over all my lines, and then I folded the paper back in half, and the side that had the original drawing and the marker side I turned over and I put it down here on my light pad. If you don't have a light pad, that is not a problem. A window works wonderful. So then I took my pen and I was able to see the lines from the other side and draw them onto the second half. And then opening it up, I then had a symmetrical drawing. Then took another piece of paper, I put it over the top of this. I wanted to keep this like that. And then I drew it out, and then I added more detail to this particular picture. I added bolder lines, obviously. You can go as thick or as thin with your lines as you want. You can get a regular permanent Sharpie marker and make some pretty bold lines with that. The fine line markers are wonderful. If you have any big areas to fill in, I would use, obviously, a thicker pen. Because we're going to be doing some painting on here with the computer program, make sure that all your lines are closed, because if there's any openings, whatever you dump for color right here will go over there if there's an opening there. So that's just something to remember. I've had it where I didn't have a line closed, and I went to drop a color in on something and it went into my whole background. And obviously you can just do Control Z and get rid of that issue. How do we get it from here to the computer? You can scan this with your scanner, or you can do like I do and take a picture of it with your phone. If you don't have a scanner, or you just decide that you would like to use your phone, it's not going to be a huge issue, but because we can correct that on the computer. But you get your photos with the least amount of shadows as you can. It makes it a little bit simpler later on when you're at the computer making your adjustments to your image. Now I'm going to take this image, upload it onto my computer. I've connected my phone to my computer and I've opened up Photoshop Elements. So where I'm going first is up in the upper left hand corner. I'm going to click on Open. And from my iPhone, over here on this side, you can probably see the image, it's already there. But if you go over to the side, if you haven't done this before, there's Apple iPhone, you click on that. Just follow the path to get there, all your different files. Scroll down to my image. There it is. Double click on that. And it's opened my image up. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I am going to go up to Image, Rotate 90 degrees left, and then over here under Modify, I'm going to choose the Crop tool, and I'm going to choose the size I want here. Now, if you take your cursor and go up by one of the squares on the side, you can actually rotate this to square up with the image. And using the arrows, you can go up, down, however you want. When you like the cropping, click the check mark, and there we have the image on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and use Control Plus and make my image a little bigger. Okay, then hit Control L, and I'm working on a PC, not a Mac. Okay, so Control L brings up your levels, and so we're just going to go up to the little dropper that says Set White Paint. Click on that. I'm going to touch anywhere in the white area. You can see it's kind of creamy colored. We're going to set that to white. And now it's gone very, very white. And then I'm going to go over to the black dropper, and I'm going to touch anywhere on the black lines. If you notice that some are maybe a little bit lighter than others, you can actually zoom in again, Control Plus, and you can hit your black lines, get them really black. Okay, I touched the black lines, set my black levels. All right, click OK. I'm gonna go back out. First thing I'm going to do is actually go up here in the right hand margin area to where our layers should be. If your layers are not here, go down to the bottom right hand side where it says layers and click on that. Your layers will show up on the right hand margin. I'm going to click on that little lock right there where it says indicates layers partially locked. Click on that to unlock this image. Now as we add layers, we're going to title our layers so that we know exactly which one is which. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a mask, and go over here, click on the up here, it has like a star on it, and it's a magic wand tool if you've not used that. And I'm going to click on the black, anywhere where you have the black area, just click on the black. Now it's difficult to see, but if you use Control Plus on your keyboard, going to see that it has not selected everything. By using the Shift key on the keyboard while you're using the wand tool, you'll see here, I'll do it in the white area, you'll see the plus sign come up. And what that does is if you hit the Shift and then hit the different areas that you want to add to the selected area, you'll get all the parts that you didn't have before. This is one option, is that you can create a mask. And actually, I'm wanting to get rid of the white permanently. You're going to see when I click on this button, the next button, how there's stuff that's missing from it, but we'll change that. So it says Add Layer Mask up on the right-hand side. Click on that, and then that gets rid of the areas inside the black that you wanted to get rid of. As you can see, there's some areas in the wing that's missing. You can undo that by hitting Control Z. Hit Control D, deselect everything. I'm actually going to click inside the white area, and this is a different way than using a mask. And then what this is doing is it's actually following all the lines in the white area on the outside of the bee. So now if I hit delete, I just got rid of all of the outside area. Again, you can do the mask thing, but it seems like no matter what I do, because of the bee and the lines being so thin, it doesn't always follow all of them. So you can actually just click inside all the areas, like the wings, that you want to get rid of. click and delete, click and delete, until I find a better way. This seems to be the fastest for me right now. And probably if my lines maybe would have been a little better, maybe it would have followed those lines more closely when I did the masks. So basically, you're going to go through and you're going to delete all the areas that you want to get rid of and that you want to be see-through so that you can add your own color. For time's sake, I'm going to go and get a bee that I've already worked on. I'm just going to go ahead and create a mask on this. I'm going to click the black areas, go over here to the right hand side, click on Add Layer Mask, and there we go. Now you can see part of the wings are missing, and we're just going to pretend that they're not. I'm going to show you how to add color to this using the paintbrush. Focus on adding color to the thorax of the bee. Let's go over to the paintbrush, which is on the left hand side, the brush tool. I'm going to go in the color box where it says set foreground color. I'm going to click on that, and we're going to go choose a yellow color that'll be nice for our bee. Okay, this is going to be the base color to the bee, and see the large circle over the bee? That is the size of my brush. I'm going to decrease the size of my brush by using the bracket tool. On the keyboard, they're right next to the letter P. The left one decreases the size, the right one increases the size of the brush. In the layers, we're going to take our bee drawing and we're going to slide that up to the top. That way, whatever we do in the subsequent layers below the bee will be under the black line drawing. I'm going to double click on layer 1 and just type in the word base. This is going to be my base color. I'm going to change my brush, a hard line brush. I'm going to change the opacity to 100%. I want to go ahead and just paint inside the area of the bee that I would like to change the color. Okay, now it's okay. Now look, I can go over the black area and it doesn't color the black because, again, over here in the layers, the black is on top. So the painting is happening below or underneath the black lines. We have the base color highlighted over here in our layers margin. We're going to click on another new layer. Okay, and I'm going to call that one Midtones. All right, so I'm going to go back over to color, and I'm going to choose the color that's a little darker than the one that we already have. Click OK. I think I'm going to soften the edge a little bit more. And bigger size there. Okay. And on this one, I'm going to go ahead and change the opacity. I'm going to make it so it's a little see-through. Let's overlap a little more here too. So what's that's doing with the faded edge, which is really nice, the blurry edge, is just giving a nice fade in of the color. All right, so let's go ahead and add a third layer. Call this one our dark tones. Click on color, choose a color that's darker. And what's nice is it shows you the new color and the current color. So you can kind of compare and say, well, is it dark enough, or we'll go a little darker. All right, using the darker color, our dark tones. And might want to come in a little bit more, get on the edge more. Let's choose another layer. We'll call this one Shadow. Click a much darker color. Click OK. I'm going to go a little smaller, and I want to kind of paint with the center of my paintbrush in the black lines between the segments of the thorax. So that way it's going to just give a touch of the dark on the bottom and the top. And it's actually a little bit more than what I wanted, so I'm going to make my brush a little smaller. And I'm going to paint along that line. And do it again here. You can also do it along the outside edges a little more too. And obviously for this one, because it's such a big area, I need my brush to be a little bit bigger. And then down here on the bottom part, I actually want it darker. I'm going to go ahead and click on a new layer. I'm going to call this one Highlights. Colors, and I'm going to choose one that's really bright. Click OK. And this one would probably actually even just look white. I'm going to center this over the black area. I don't want it to be the center of the brightness to be right in the area that we see. I want it to be hidden, radiating from the black area. There you can see how I touched that. And it got both areas, the top and the bottom. Make my brush a little smaller. Can do the same thing here. We'll just call that good. This is mostly just a tutorial just to show you really quick on how to do this. Now, how do we get rid of the color out here? So over on the layers section, I'm going to click on each one, like just click on shadow. And then we're going to add a mask. So that's up above, add mask layer. We need to change our colors over here to black and white. I want black to remove or black to hide. So I have black on the top for hiding. Click on a paintbrush, go ahead and zoom in. We're going to change the opacity to 100%, and I'm going to use the smaller brush to kind of outline around the bee. I'm going to follow that all the way around. The parts I can see right now anyway. Alright, now I can make my brush larger and then go around and remove all those areas that are further out. And the reason we created a mask is that for any reason that you want to bring that back, all you have to do is, you can disable the mask, and what you had masked out will come back. And so just by right-clicking, enable or disable the mask. We're going to do the same thing for the dark tone layer. We're going to go up, and while it's highlighted, go up and click on Add Mask, come around and remove the color from the outside. Go to the midtones, create the mask layer for that, and come in and remove. Mask color, base, add the mask, and we'll come in, remove all the color from the outside edges. If you color outside the lines, you can repair it. There's still some color in the edge here, just have to find out which layer that is. That is how you can remove background to your images, add color, get creative with it. If your lines are less detailed, you won't have to work so hard as far as over here where we lost a lot of the wing. And again, it just takes fine-tuning your masking. And we're going to go to the bucket, the paint bucket tool on the right hand side. Click on that. Let's go ahead and drop down to where it says color, set the foreground color. So we're going to click on that. Let's go ahead and let's choose blue. And put a nice blue color there. Click OK. And then using the little arrow portion of the paint bucket tool, the arrow is what's going to dump the color. So you're going to click inside the area that you want to put the color, and there you have it. Now using Control+ on your keyboard, zoom in. If there's any places where it didn't color that you wanted it to, zoom into it, dump in the color. So wherever I want the color in the wings, I would just touch inside there with that tool and dump the color in there. Now because I do have a lot of fine detail with the lines, there's going to be a lot of areas where I'm going to have to zoom in and color all those areas. And you can see right over here on the left-hand side, I have a lot of little areas that I'd want to fill in. You can also leave them empty if you want to leave them empty and have them no background color at all. We're just using the photo bucket, or excuse me, the paint bucket for color. Okay, here is an image where I actually filled in the wings with the paint bucket tool. What do you do with your image once you have gotten it to this point? So I did 3 different saves on this image. I save it as a PSD, which is the Photoshop file. Any point that I want to make any changes, I can. Then I also save it as a PNG. The PNG, which is right here, the PNG saves it so that it keeps the image from having a background. You're going to see it just like this minus all the checkerboard area. I do save it as a JPEG file because it's kind of cute just having that on the white background too. So I have 3 saves, the PSG, the PNG, and the JPEG file, just to show you what a PNG would look like. So I can take the image and move it around. Background color will actually show through because it has no background color because it's a PNG file. Here you see the B image that I made. Then you also see I have some script, and I put this script on here the same way that I did the image. Did calligraphy on a piece of paper, took the image picture, transferred it onto this program, and I actually was able to make adjustments to my letters as well, same way that I did the B. And then I was able to save those as well as a PNG. And because I saved them as a PNG, I'm able to move them around without any background. Well, I hope that helped you. If you have any questions about this, just drop me a question down in the comments and I'll be happy to help you as much as I can. I can also make a new video based on popular questions that might pop up. Well, I hope you have a great week, and until next week, stay well and stay happy.